I'm the only one that feel like I ain't even get a chance to experience my 20s. Like, my whole 20s has been nothing but bad event after event, world crashing, life on hard mode. Like, I didn't even get a chance to mess up on my own.
This is a PSA for all of the privileged, rich, wealthy Americans. Hi, my name is Bridget. I'm 32 years old. I work full-time. And my paycheck does not give me enough to even get the bare minimums, okay? I had a savings account and I just had to use about half of it just to get by until my next paycheck, okay? And the reality of that is once my savings is gone, I don't have a crutch. I don't have any more crutches. And the stress of going grocery shopping, y'all, I'm at Aldi, okay, which is quite literally probably one of the cheaper grocery options. And the way that I have to pinch my pennies just to make sure I have enough food until the next paycheck is quite literally wild. So to all of my single humans out there, you're doing amazing. And you know, we're a one income family. My fur babies don't work. I wish they did. I wish there was an opportunity, but what are we supposed to do? Like, when is enough enough? Because this kind of living is unsustainable. Unsustainable. Meanwhile, y'all are out here driving your Teslas and your Cybertrucks and your G-Wagons. Y'all, I'm in a Chevy Equinox, okay? And I'm starting to think I need to trade it in because I can't afford life anymore. When is enough enough? I would love to know. I would absolutely love to know. It's pretty sad. It's pretty sad. I have a college degree. I am overqualified for my job. I am severely, severely underpaid. What are we supposed to do? What's the answer? Because I think the next step for me, I'm gonna have to look into food stamps, and I bet you my salary is above the threshold. But obviously, I'm $85.26 away from being in the negative. What are we supposed to do? How am I supposed to buy groceries for 2 weeks with $85 only to have 26 cents left in my bank account? When is enough enough?
Hey YouTube, everywhere online people are talking about how expensive life has gotten, from rent and groceries to basic bills that used to feel manageable just a few years ago. So in today's video, we're looking at some TikToks discussing that growing financial pressure while also talking about the bigger picture behind why so many Americans feel stuck right now. The reality is a lot of people aren't struggling because they're bad with money. They're struggling because the cost of living has been rising faster than many people's ability to keep up with it.
I don't know if people around the world know this, but many Americans cannot afford to live. Like, cannot even afford some of the basics that the rest of you don't have to worry about. Americans can't afford their gas, can't afford their groceries, can't afford their health care, let alone anything enjoyable, doing an activity on the weekend, going someplace. Everything is outrageously expensive. Even fast food. You tried to feed a family of 4 at McDonald's, you might be spending $40 and $50. Everything is inflated right now. Remember when he ran on this campaign of lowering grocery prices, lowering the price of gas? Why is gas in the US well over $5 a gallon in so many areas? $5 a gallon. Why is the price of eggs $7, $8, and $9 a dozen? How is that lowering prices? How is anybody who voted for him still defending him? It's not just people on the left not being able to afford their lives. It's the MAGA Republicans too, but this is what you voted for. And I know so many of them are upset. We warned them. We warned them constantly. And here we all are.
People are literally getting to a point where they're working all the time and they no longer can afford to pay their bills without doing shit on the side. It's absolute insanity to have to work anywhere from 12 to 18 hours a day just to still not be provided with enough to survive. And then it's like whenever you bring it up, people will try to make you out to be the problem when that's so far from the truth. We're all out here working as hard as we can. We're cutting back where we can. And it's like we're working 1,000,000 hours a day and it's still not ever enough. And something else that I hate about this society that we created is how you get provoked and provoked and provoked way beyond past your breaking point. And then as soon as people get a reaction out of you, as soon as you get angry, as soon as you have a crash out, people make you out to be the problem. People will tell you that you're toxic. People will tell you that you're crazy, lazy, any name that they could come up with. It's like, when are we going to stop blaming the working class? Because we're literally out here working ourselves to death, and it's almost like we encourage each other to work ourselves to death. This shit isn't normal, and I feel like we all need to collectively come to an agreement that something needs to change.
For a lot of Americans, the biggest problem isn't luxury spending or making bad decisions. It's that necessities are eating up most of their paycheck every year. Housing costs have climbed in many cities while wages haven't moved at all. This creates a situation where people can work full-time and still feel like they're falling behind. Then you add groceries, insurance, utilities, transportation, and a lot of random expenses that pop up out of nowhere. A lot of people aren't trying to get rich right now. They're trying to just make it to the next paycheck without something going wrong. That's what makes this issue feel so frustrating for so many families. When every category of spending gets more expensive at the same time, there isn't an easy area left to cut back on. You can skip out on eating, cancel subscriptions, and shop smarter, but eventually the math starts getting difficult. People notice the pressure every time they open a bill, check their bank account, or walk into a grocery store. And when millions of people are feeling the same pressure at once, it becomes a much bigger conversation than just individual budgeting habits.
Do y'all know the average 20-year-old, 30-year-old adult can't even get an apartment in their own name using their own income because the ratio of income and how much they get paid compared to these apartment prices? And y'all want to ask why nobody ain't buying houses. A lot of people, I'm not gonna lie, do look at getting their first apartment or getting an apartment period on their own for themselves. They do look at that as a flex. And even the young adults who can barely make the cut, they honestly have to settle for roommates or they got to work 3-4 jobs. So they don't even get to enjoy the apartment anyway. I am so not a fan of that making 3 times the rent. You got to make 2.5 rent. I'm not a fan of it. I don't like it at all. And maybe it's just because I don't understand how that's going to determine whether they get their rent money or not. Just because people make the money or make enough money or, you know what I'm saying, make a certain amount of money still don't mean that you're going to get your rent money on the first. And then when people say that home ownership is much easier because on top of the fact that you get to build equity and all this other stuff like that, if you ain't never attempted or been in the market to try to buy a house, you can't even speak on that. Because let me just start with the pre-steps in order to even start looking at home ownership. Your credit got to be cleaned up. You got to have a certain profile of credit. But if you've never been in the market to buy a home, you have no idea what that process is even like.
Yo, if I see that news report of them talking about how more and more Americans are reporting food insecurity, I'm gonna fucking lose it. We have no money. How many times do we have to say it? How many ways do we have to say it? We are broke. We are poor. We have no extra cash. I don't have the money for that right now. No tango dinero. How many times do we have to say we don't have money? Oh, more people are reporting food insecurity. More people are going on vacation. No, duh. We are poor. Thank you.
One thing that doesn't get talked about enough is how this affects people's outlook on the future. When money is constantly tight, long-term goals start feeling harder to reach. Buying a house, starting a family, moving out, traveling, or building savings can begin to feel more like distant goals than actual plans. A lot of younger people are looking ahead and wondering how they're supposed to afford these things previous generations considered normal milestones. Even people who are doing relatively okay financially often feel nervous because everything feels more expensive than expected. That uncertainty changes how people spend, save, and make decisions. Instead of thinking years ahead, many people focus on getting through the next month. The result is a growing feeling that life is becoming harder to afford even when you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. And until costs become more manageable or income starts stretching further, this conversation probably isn't going away anytime soon. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. See you guys in the next one. Peace out.